Greetings, mortals, and welcome. Please present your tickets for validation. Thank you. Your existence has been acknowledged, and you have been granted access every Thursday and Friday. You will be accompanying your guides, Krista and Brandy, along with a world-renowned guest. They will be exploring an intriguing tendril of what humans refer to as reality each week, as they strive to advance you further down the path to the truths of your physical earth and what lies on the other side. Remember to please keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times, and do not exit until the craft has come to a complete stop.
Hey everybody, welcome.
Hey everybody. Happy Friday. Hello. Sorry, I'm just trying to say hello to everybody in there as they're coming in.
Oh yeah, they're starting to trickle in for sure.
I know. I was like, first of all, it was just a couple of names, and then it starts to speed up and then it gets overwhelming. So to everybody out there in the chat and watching, hello.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, Rob, you want to tell them about Rob?
Yeah, well, we all know if you watch Bigfoot Michigan Rob that he has hurt his knee yet again. And he's kind of out of commission right now, so he won't be joining us. But Tex has said that he will come join us as soon as he gets done having dinner with his lovely wife, and we'll get going with him as soon as he gets here. But, tonight we thought we would just have, a good old Q&A and just talk with everybody in chat and just, have a good time. We love doing this. We love doing these kind of shows. They're absolutely great. And tonight we have Paranormal Paul too. Ta-da! Oh yeah, there we go. There's the thumbs up.
There's two thumbs up.
Awesome. I'll do the fireworks a little later on.
Right.
Okay. That'll work.
Right.
That'll work. Randy, you want to tell everybody about let's do our normal here. Here, this one's coming up.
Yeah, this is the Women of the Paranormal Conference being held in Harriman, Tennessee. This, it says Women of the Paranormal, but of course men are invited. It's a great thing that they're doing. They're raising money for abuse and how to help people that suffer from abuse and things like that. So hey, come on out if you're near Harriman, Tennessee on the 23rd and 24th.
Amen. There you go. And then we got that one, of course.
Yeah, we need to really start talking about this. This is going to creep up on us before we even know what's happening.
Right.
This one is May 18th, and it lasts until the wee morning of the 19th. This is at Ashmore Estates in Ashmore, Illinois. We have some cool guests that are coming, and we're going to have some speakers. Of course, Paul Anthony, which is that guy below me down there. That's Paul Anthony. We have Josh Hurd from Malvern Manor. We have Jessica Potter, the mermaid psychic. She's a really cool person to talk to and get to know. She has a lot of good insights on a lot of stuff, and she's a great paranormal investigator. And with her, she's bringing Rachel Marie, which, again, in her own right is just an absolute doll and is a great paranormal investigator. She's going to be great. And we're dragging Letitia Nunnelly, kicking and screaming. She's coming.
There are.
We just got to. We've just got to bring her along. We're gonna bring her over to the dark side.
I guess you don't have to ghost hunt. So there we go.
Right. She can sit outside and look for UFOs. That'll make her feel better.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
I'll split my time ghost hunting and looking for UFOs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you don't have to necessarily be inside either for anything paranormal. You don't have to be. That place is literally crawling all over the place inside and out. So, strange things could happen.
I can't wait.
Absolutely. Strange
can't
things
wait.
do happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got the pictures to prove it.
Me
Just say
too.
it.
Yeah. Yep. Been there plenty of times and it never disappoints, honestly.
Right. Right. And if anybody's worried about this place being like some type of nasty entity or anything, no. This place is not. It is I don't want to say it's not. It gives you everything you need without giving you the scary stuff.
A lot of Caspers there.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of entities and very active and willing to engage.
Yeah.
So it is a great place.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. It is. I've had quite a few encounters over there.
Yeah. The last time I was there, I took my daughter Abby, and of course she's young, and she can't attend the other ghost hunts because she's not old enough. So we take our kids over there, and I took her over there, and they have this bell, like you would find at a hotel desk, one of those little bells, and they have it, on the nurse's station way down at the other end of the second floor. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, we heard that thing ding several times, and there was nobody down there.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
it was going, and we caught EVPs and all kinds of stuff. Now there's places I won't take my daughter, but that place is definitely one of those. It's
me too.
It's a good one.
It is. It really is.
I think I'm more worried about staying up till 2:00 in the morning when I'm usually going to bed at like 10.
I mean, you don't have to stay up till 2. You can go to bed.
You don't have to. I'm just saying. But the thing about
I think I'll make it.
Is that once you get into it, you really don't want to sleep, especially if things are happening. You don't want to sleep. And then for me, I just catch a cat nap in a corner about 20 minutes, and then I'm usually good.
Good to go again. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Will there be coffee in the morning? That's my big thing.
Yeah, there's coffee all the time.
Okay. All right, good. Then we're good.
Mm-hmm.
All night long.
Yes. A lot of people, they drink their coffee or their caffeine pick-me-up'ems.
Yeah.
Yes.
Overnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me personally, I drink Mountain Dew at night whenever I do overnights. Keeps me up. Since I'm not a coffee drinker.
Right. Or your
It'll be
tea,
fun.
I mean, it's whatever gets
tea.
you going.
I can sleep with tea. Mountain Dew, I can't. So, you know how that goes.
I can't sleep with tea. I have to pee every 5 minutes. So that
Well,
doesn't work out.
That's me with coffee. That's me with coffee after like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Hi, Nancy. Yeah.
If anybody, I was going to say, has any questions, or if you guys want to talk about a certain topic, just say it in chat, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We're good.
It's definitely off the rails at Blondes and Booze this evening. Whatever.
Yeah.
We can switch topics as fast as you can throw them up there. It's not a problem.
Absolutely. So this isn't our first rodeo.
Absolutely not. But I do want to let everybody know out there, if you've not, I know if you're listening, I've not set the thing tonight, but I'm getting ready to set it, that usually in our chat from now on, that it's going to be subscribers only. But for people out there listening, if you've not liked and subscribed, please do. You don't have to come chat, but that little like and that little subscribe helps us all,
Also, there is a Facebook user, and you come up on our side. Facebook user is Facebook user. So if you want to comment, come over to the our YouTube channel, Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast, and then we'll be able to see who you are.
Yeah, just subscribe. That's it.
Yep, all you gotta do is subscribe.
Yeah,
that's it. Takes a second.
Yeah,
and we like to see who you are too. So,
right.
I mean, that does help.
and everybody in the chat is so wonderful and so welcoming. So make sure you come over here.
Yeah. So here's a question. Mickey G says, would any of you go to Lorraine Warren's place where she has Annabelle?
Oh, absolutely.
I believe it's the Warren's Occult Museum.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I sure would. When I went to and stayed in the Conjuring house, they had a replica, and I mean an exact replica of Annabelle, and she's right there on the mantle.
Mhm.
Same box, same everything. It's the exact replica. And no, it didn't move and it didn't make noises or anything like that. But it was pretty cool to see just that in itself. So yeah, I would go see the real one. Absolutely.
I would think so too. That would be pretty cool with everything that everybody knows about all them. I mean, that would just be fun to be part of it, you know?
Yeah, you know,
Why not go see it?
I would rather go see Annabelle than Robert the Doll, I think.
Yeah.
I would too. Honestly, I would too, because, you know, like Annabelle, like they say, you know, as long as you respect her and whatever, you know, you're okay. Robert the Doll, you just look at him wrong and you piss him off. And
I know.
You know, next thing he's jacking you up. So
yeah, and you have to ask him for permission to take a picture or whatever. I mean, he's a little bit of an a-hole.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Absolutely. Hey,
Tex.
Hey, Tex.
I heard y'all talking about me.
We're just talking about a-holes.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought, well, what better time to jump in? I'm the topic of discussion.
Yeah. Well, hey, Facebook user, come on over to our YouTube channel and sign in there so we can see who you are. But yeah, absolutely. No, we were talking about, you know, the haunted dolls and stuff, and you know, we were talking about Annabelle and if we would go see it, and I would go see Annabelle. I said it's Robert the Doll that I would be questionable. I don't think I'd go see that one.
Absolutely.
I'd go see any of them and spend the night with them.
You would?
You bet.
He would. Yeah. Thank you, Michelle.
I don't know that I would want to see a doll that I have to ask permission to get their picture taken.
Yeah.
You know, Anna says the Ozzy and Jack episode of Robert the Doll was hilarious. And it was. I watched that too. That was funny. You guys have watched that with Ozzy Osbourne and his son. It was
fun. Yeah. Well, you know, Jack Osbourne, he's one of my favorites, I think, because he's, you know, you can tell when he's kind of like, he's like about this, you know, this area that he's in. Like when he was in the Shanghai tunnels, you know, he's going through this thing and you could see that he's visibly shaken. And I love that, you know, but he's not like running and screaming and he's like, well, it's time to go. Is what you know, or just something like that, you know. It's just like he knows when to go, but he's not running and screaming and there to, I don't know, for the shock and awe thing, you know. It's just kind of like, well, this doesn't feel right. We need to go. But you know what we need to talk about?
Here we go.
I'm very sad right now, and I'm just super sad. I read an article today that Bobby Mackey's is being torn down.
Where have you been? This is old news.
I know. I know, but they're tearing it down, but they're actually moving the whole bar, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that taking the stuff with them is going to make this new bar haunted? Because they were talking about continuing on with the ghost tours and everything when they move everything.
Probably, but maybe not as haunted or the same ones, because a lot of it had to do with that well, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It did.
And, you know, I mean, you can't move the well.
No.
You need actual, you know.
It's gonna depend on what's attached to what.
Right. But see, this is my thing, though. You know, while reading it, they said that they're moving it to a temporary place, and they're building a new bar.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that make more sense to rebuild it in the same area? Because it wasn't structurally sound, but the property was sound.
I have no idea.
Yeah, see, that's what I find strange. I mean, that was the whole thing with me today. I'm like, well, if the structure is not sound and that it would take an enormous amount of money to fix it,
right? Well,
then tear it down and build a new one right on the same place.
Yeah.
But they're just going to move the whole dang thing.
Yep.
You would think it would be easier just to rebuild it. I mean, why go through all the trouble of moving everything?
Yeah.
Well, they'd have to move it out to rebuild because they're going to have to demolish the building whatever, but I mean, with that kind of attraction, I don't think I would have moved the business altogether.
How far are they moving it?
Mm-mm.
I don't know that part. I didn't read. They were talking about a temporary place that is not far from there.
Yeah,
But they didn't say where they were rebuilding it.
I thought at the same location. I could be wrong, but if you look, Robin Terry had posted something about that not that long ago.
Yeah,
His page.
yeah. I was just reading it today. Yeah, and I live in a box.
Well, Anna says it's too close to the railroad and the river. So, and I got a comment on this one too. Jojo says, I watched the weekly Osborne podcast, and yeah, absolutely. I do too. I subscribe to both the Osbornes and Jack Osborne. I watch every week. They're pretty good. They really are. If nobody has watched them, they're hilarious.
Doesn't Ozzy have Parkinson?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and a lot of the stuff, that he says you can't hardly understand him, because he's.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Even when he was young, you couldn't understand him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but then he was on drugs,
He just went from one to the next. It was just like, well, you couldn't understand him then, you can't understand him now. So
don't Sharon.
There you go.
Exactly.
You got it.
That might actually be too clear for Ozzy.
The only time he's clear is when he's going, Sharon.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Two syllables. You can get 2 syllables out.
Yeah.
He reminds me of the guy from Fat Albert, Mushmouth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you can understand them and sometimes you can't. But I mean, I guess his persona when he was young, I mean, some people were kind of scared of him because he was that weirdo.
Biting the heads off bats and stuff.
Yeah. That kind of weirdo, kind of like the Marilyn Manson of our time. You know what I mean? That kind of crazy.
Yeah. And you know what? I still like Ozzy's music. I still listen to it.
I do. I do love his music. But it just seems like to me that Ozzy Osbourne, the older he gets, the more lovable he becomes. It just cracks me up.
It is true.
Every time Crazy Train comes on, the windows go down, the music goes up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care how old you are.
Yeah, and I'm an old Black Sabbath fan.
Mm-hmm.
I like the old Black Sabbath, and for sure.
Boots.
Yep. Joe, back onto the other place. Joe Odysseys, talking about, the bar there in Kentucky. They are in the bar business first. Ghosting was a small part of it. And, he's right on that. That's how it started. Bobby Mackey's, it was the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And I get it. But, I don't know where they're building it. If they're building it on the same property, that's what I would have done. I mean, because then, you're a bar first, but you still have that side business too.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows with bar business, it is not booming, 24/7, 7 days a week, every week of the year. It's not. But us weirdos will go ghost hunting.
Yeah.
So, hey, you always got that.
Right. Oh, that's funny. I was here, Terry Mosby. She posted a link about they're supposed to rebuild on the same spot by 2026. The move is temporary. So
if
anybody's going to go to Bobby Mackey's, I'd just wait until it's back open.
Yeah, some people are trying to get in because they're still doing some ghosting in there until June or July, I think it was what they said. It was something like that, and then they're closing it for good. So, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, it was Freaky Geek says, who was it who ate the head off a bat or a rat during life? That was Ozzy. And the thing about it is, from what I heard, somebody threw that up on the stage, and he thought it was a fake bat. And that's how that's happened.
True. He did. He didn't. He wasn't out like looking to eat animals or kill animals. yeah, I saw that too, where he like reiterated that. However, he did get banned from the Alamo because he peed on it.
It pains me to say this. I love Ozzy, but I can never forgive him for what he did.
What, the Alamo or the bat?
The Alamo, the bat, I could care less.
Right?
Yeah.
No self-respecting Texan will ever be able to forgive him for what he did.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So who is we don't have to keep this on the paranormal thing. Who's y'all's favorite music? What do you guys like? What is your go-to?
Oh my God.
Man, my playlist.
Like, oh my God.
Y'all heard my playlist. It goes all over the place.
Mm-hmm. So's mine.
I like the jazz music that you had on last time I was on with you. I like that. It was soothing.
You mean the blues?
Was it blues you played? I thought it was jazzy. Might have been the blues. I like that.
I guess for me, it's just whatever mood I'm in, and it's rarely country. It's rarely country. I'm just going to say that. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. I grew up in Michigan. That's the Motor City, people. Mm-hmm. We didn't have country music, and I grew up, with, Leonard Skinner and all that kind of stuff up there. Kid Rock, was up and coming when I was up there. That's the stuff that I grew up on. Country wasn't a big thing. It just wasn't a big thing.
I agree with Barton. I'm all about. I agree with Barton.
See, heavy metal, 80s heavy metal. Yep, there you go.
Yeah,
I can go anywhere from classical music to metal. And I've recently, in the last 5 years, I've discovered this band from the Netherlands. It's called Epica. They are a symphonic metal band. It is freaking awesome.
Really?
Yeah. Like what is it? Is it Dream Theater? Let's see. There's an dadgummit. Trans-Siberian Orchestra is kind of like that too.
Yes. I've seen them 20 straight years, 22, 21 straight years. Every time they come through St. Louis, that's our annual Christmas tradition for all three of us here. So I like some really weird stuff. There's I can't remember exactly where they're from. I think they're from Norway. But they're all druids, and they play their music, and all their music, the words come off of from old Viking poems and off of shields and off of runes. Oh wow!
The words do, and they play a lot of their instruments, or they make a lot of their instruments, and a lot of them are made out of bone. Even human bone. Oh. And they dress the part and all that kind of stuff. And it's, I mean, I know they're druids and pagans and, not good things here, but I'm sorry, the music's cool.
Yeah. I mean, hell, if the music's cool. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. People are mentioning a lot of good bands in chat. I'm just saying.
I know. I'm watching. I'm
Willie Thorpe.
Like Ronnie James Dio, like Metallica, Five Finger Death Punch. Heck yeah, man. So anyway, and actually, William had said that he likes the country and bluegrass, and I like that as well. I can listen to any of it.
I like it live.
I'm not a rap fan.
No.
Or a country fan, no.
And see, I don't mind country. I was raised on country.
Iron Maiden.
My dad was diehard country, so
I was raised on Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about being raised on now, Janis Joplin was the one that I was raised on. My dad would sing those songs to me every morning, and I'm like, shut up. Just putting your hand up, just good,
But made for walking.
Yeah.
And then my mom now, Elvis was played in her home.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I'm a big Elvis
her
fan.
father, my grandfather would just kill her with Elvis. So she would like that too. So
my neighbor was an Elvis impersonator, and every year on Halloween we'd have a big, huge block party, and he would put on an Elvis concert. He looked the part of Fat Elvis, but he could not sing to save his life. It was awful.
Oh no,
it was awful.
Wow. It was just like, okay, one song, one.
Yeah. But you know, he had the scarves that he was handing out to all the women and everything, the jumpsuits and everything. He loved it though. Everybody loved it.
Huh? Except you. You're like, okay, we're done now.
And my wife worked from home then, and you know, she'd be working and the windows would be open or something, and he'd be singing Pearl Jam or something like that to warm up, and she had to close all the windows. It was awful. It was awful.
Yeah.
Like that.
I love them. We loved them, but I mean, God, it was awful. But
yeah, the name of that band, I looked it up real quick, is Heilong.
Viking music, you said?
Yeah, it's Viking music, Viking or Druid music. It comes up either way, but the name of the band is
said that.
Wow.
I don't. Somebody had said that, and I was like, "What?" I don't know.
It was Tex commenting under the Blondes and Booze.
There it is. Okay, that's it.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, so we can go back to paranormal. There was a.
I went and saw Celtic Women in concert. That was a good concert.
Really?
That would be good. You know, I mean, because they really get into it. I mean, they do. They have great showmanship.
They do, and their voices are just phenomenal.
Yeah. Glenn Danison says, "Have any of you Missourians ever been to Joe Bald Park?" I personally have not.
No,
I have not.
No.
Because if you want to know the truth, the LBL is closer to me than Joe Bald Park.
Me too. Yep. This is just a comment somebody said, and I don't know anything about it. Maybe you guys do. Sage Cooley says, "Did you know that a madman escaped from Cedro Woolley State Hospital back in the 70s? They never found him." My uncle was telling me about it. I never even heard of that place.
I did it. Wow. Wait a minute. Let me write that down because I'm gonna look that up because that sounds interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it does sound
Cedro Woolley State Hospital.
Yeah. I mean, I love those stories because
yeah.
Of course, you know, the truth is stranger than anything.
I keep forgetting, and I'm typing under y'all's name.
Yep, you got to do it from your phone if you're going to go under your own stuff. Yeah.
I know, because we used to be able to do that, you know, where you would be in the StreamYard portion and there would be a part at the bottom where you comment as yourself. And
right.
I guess they took that out of there.
Yeah, because it's just, well, we don't stream to other channels anymore. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's another question here. Daryl says, "What's the most famous haunted place you have been to, and what was your experience?" Who wants to answer first?
I'm not going to answer because there's a bunch I've been to.
Tex, we'll let you go first.
Most haunted place, man. I don't know.
Famous haunted place.
Right. Well, in that case, it's good grief. Well, what's famous though? I mean, is Brown Springs famous?
No.
Well, crap.
It should be. It should be, but it is not.
It's got to be Hill House then.
The haunted Hill House.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we've both been there, and we've talked about it before. How your experiences and my experiences were totally different.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you were with all guys and I was with all girls. and it made the difference. It made the absolute difference.
It did. Because, I mean, now what was cool is when we was playing poker, and I guess you can call it coincidence, fine, if you want to, but when's it stop being coincidence? At what level, is something else involved here? Because we're playing poker, and the ghost Willie, and Keith and another guy was sitting there, and they was playing poker, and I walked in. Well, I moved Willie's drink and everything over to another spot, and I sat down where he was supposed to be. And I don't know why I'm doing this, but this, I guess, is a new thing for me. I don't know.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's not me. And when we sat down, we asked him to show us the dead man's hand, which is aces and eights. The next hand, I'm dealt aces and eights. And he beats me, and Willie's after me, and he beats me with 666.
Whoa.
So when does it stop being, I mean, that's pretty definitive if you ask me,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then, of course, at the same time, Bob Van Buren was standing behind where Willie was supposed to be sitting, watching the game. And when we got up to leave and walk in the kitchen, he complained his back was burning. We raised his shirt up, and he's got the scratches on his back that either looks like somebody was trying to do a pentagram or an A. We really don't know which. But and then the next morning when we was talking to oh my God, I forgot their names. The owners, who what is their? Oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot their names.
It is Kathy and no, God, you put me on the spot. I can't remember right now.
So Kathy and her husband.
Yeah.
Her husband.
Yeah, her husband. So Kathy, but anyway, they caught a EVP at the same time saying cheater. So I thought that was pretty cool. So evidently Willie was pissed at Bob for peeking over his shoulder at the game and then scratched him for it and called him a cheater.
Wow.
So I mean, your overall experience was pretty mild, though.
Yeah. I mean, we got, we had. Now, what was weird is, they talk about Toby, which is supposed to be a demon, and they've got that picture of him, which is crazy looking. He looks like the Cheshire Cat.
Yeah, it is very strange.
And before I had seen that picture, I was grabbing a cat nap there in the very front living room, and sitting on that couch. And I opened my eyes, and I was leaning back on the couch, and I opened my eyes. I'm looking up towards the ceiling, and this like vision of this thing just popped in my head. I mean, it's like boom, there it is. I'm like, what the hell was that? And then I saw the picture of Toby the next morning. It was the exact same thing. So, and we had some strange noises and stuff. The damn doll on the rocking horse upstairs. Yeah, it went off. And there was something else that a motion detector went off when I was plumb across the room. And I had to walk in. I tested it. I had to walk up. I had to get within a foot of it, waving my hat at it before it went off. So, and I was the only one up there. But yeah, that's really about it, I think.
Yeah, and our experience being all female team in there it was nonstop, just nonstop. Everywhere we went, everything that we did, something was happening. Lights were turning on and turning off, and you could hear voices, and then you can hear the running, and then you can hear things, coming around doors, and you see doors open, and it was just a constant all night to where we looked at each other and said, where do we stand here? I mean, because it's to the point where it is just so overwhelming that some of the women were like, I don't know if I can do this, if I could stay. Well, Holly, me and Holly's like, we're staying. We're staying. We're gonna stay. And so everybody ended up staying, but it was like a mess of activity. It was just nonstop, to seeing full-bodied apparitions walking down the hallways, to the rocking horse. We were downstairs in the kitchen and watching it on the cameras go off, and it started rocking all by itself, and nobody was upstairs. We were all down there. We were all getting a drink.
Well, so, and not only that, it started. I mean, y'all were doing the tour, and it started.
Oh yeah, yeah. They've got a video
right out of the gate that it started with y'all, and it didn't stop.
Yeah, because the tour wasn't supposed to last even as long as it did for us, and the tour ended up taking us 4 hours because we had to keep stopping because of all the activity was happening. You just couldn't just continue and do the thing and start talking. I mean, it was just constant. Like, things are yelling at you. You can feel their breath on the back of your neck. And it was just like, it took forever. I remember because we had a show and I kept texting Krista, hey, we're trying. It's just, we can't get through this. And, so Kathy ended up getting up and leaving and having her husband come in and finish it up. She said she can't do it. She couldn't finish it up.
We did have one other thing happen when I was down under the stairs by myself. Because I went, I can never remember the name of that dadgum room. Some people call it a scribing room, or what?
It's a scrying room. It's a scrying room. Yeah,
but
it has mirrors and chairs. Yeah,
they call it a maniac's room, or something like that. But it's under the stairs, and it's barely enough. They have a chair sitting there, and it's barely wide enough for the chair, and you have like a 4-foot mirror sitting next to you. And the deal is, you go in there, you close the door, whatever, you talk or whatever. And I went in there and I said, look, I don't want any outside interference. So I had the guys close the door, lock the door, and I didn't know it, but they put a chair against the door. So I wasn't getting out if I wanted to. And then I had them leave the house for 30 minutes. They went outside for 30 minutes. And I went in there and I was trying to get this Toby thing to respond. And I called him everything under the sun and challenged him and everything. And there was 2 voices that got picked up, and it wasn't me or anybody else that picked them up. The audience listened to it. I was live at the time. The audience picked them up, and it was 2 female voices saying 2 girls' names. And one of them was, and I can't remember the name that they said, but one of the names was one of the regular spirits that supposedly haunts the place. And the other one was one that they had just came across, but they had not released publicly. We found that out the next day. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, that place is just crazy. I mean, it's a relatively small place, but it'll keep you busy.
I think the creepiest thing about that place was the 2 girls that were in high school. I think they were like 17, 18 years old. And they came in and they did an investigation. And then they disappeared the next day. And nobody's seen them since. And
oh wow.
It was like 2 years later or something like that. They had a group in there and they were doing an investigation. One of the guys got scared and he went outside and said he wasn't coming back in. And he was roaming around in the woods outside and he came across a cell phone. It was one of the missing girls' cell phones. I think that's probably the creepiest thing that I heard about the place.
Sure.
And how long ago was that?
I'm not sure. I think it was like 2000 that they went missing or something like that.
Wow.
Good deal. All right. Next question. Shucking it down with cornbread says, hey, what do you think about how some animals can sense an electrical source?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I some friends of ours, their dogs saved them from a house fire by, I guess, sensing the flames in the walls or whatever is going on in the walls and barking like crazy, and woke the family up and got them out of the house. So yeah.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've got dogs that are trained to warn of oncoming seizures, heart attacks, cancer, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, absolutely.
So my wife is diabetic, and we had a golden retriever who would wake her up when her blood sugar was going low. And then she didn't even know it. I mean, she would nudge her and wake her up, and she would test it, and she'd be like 40 something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I believe all that.
Definitely, animals know.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Except for my two dumb dogs. My two dumb dogs, they don't know nothing. They're just like, you got treats.
They know you have treats, though.
Yeah, that's all they know, and that's because they can smell them. But my daughter's cat now senses all kinds of stuff, and you can just watch her and figure that out. My two dogs, nah, they're just like, you got treats. That's all they care about.
Yep.
They don't care about nothing else.
Yeah, that's all mine care about too.
We had a dog we in our basement before we had it remodeled. We had like
Why don't
wood
you put
paneling.
your dog in your basement? That's cruel.
Well,
my dogs are in my basement right now.
That's because they're big. And a big duck.
So we had the wood paneling, and she would just go down there and stare at one part of the wall. And I kept wondering, is there something buried in there from the previous owner? We tore it down, and there was nothing. There was the last section that we tore down, but there was nothing there.
Wow.
That's cool, William.
Well, now I've got to interject, because we even heard from when we did the show with the Kling brothers, and they were talking about the cold case that they were working on, and that they even had cadaver dogs out there, and they did hit on the same spot and blah, 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 and all this other kind of stuff. Well, when they dug it up, the body was not there. But that doesn't mean the body was never there.
Yeah.
Right.
So you just don't know. You don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And animals are also not just dogs. I just think animals in general, they're sensitive to everything, including ghosts and, all that good stuff too.
Well, I think two of the most intuitive animals, well, let me put land animals, okay? I think are dogs and horses.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a horse, like I guess people who know about horses and text, I know you do, you got to watch your horse. You can read a horse. It'll tell you everything that's in front of you, behind you. You watch them ears and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And they know everything.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And there's one certain place that we did Civil War reenacting and with the horses, and my horse, she would freak out every time out there. She hated that place, but it's a well-known haunted hotspot too. She hated it there.
Yeah.
So you just never
Look at Catherine. That's funny. Look at Catherine. Like button latecomers.
She's on it, man. She's on it.
She don't let them slack, and she don't feel good.
She must be feeling better.
Nancy makes a comment here. She said, birds are very smart. Blackbirds are, and most people don't like them. You know what? That's very true. Birds are very smart. I've heard that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, they can feel the vibration of an earthquake coming before we ever know what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or tsunamis. They know when they're coming. I mean, it's they have a sense about things. And I think that they're on vibration levels that are just out of this world, because they're feeling stuff we can't even tell going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. War Criminal says, I like my dogs more than people. Amen.
Yeah.
I like my dogs more than some people myself. Absolutely.
Except when they wake you up in the middle of the night. I'm not too crazy about them then.
Yep.
Yeah.
If my dogs make a sound in the middle of the night, something is wrong. because they only bark if somebody knocks on the door.
Yeah. You know what though? So I got this young dog, and I've got 3 dogs, and this youngest one I have, he's been great until we got a cat. The cat cannot walk through this house without him barking. I don't care if it's in the middle of the night. So I don't know. I'm about ready to get a shock collar for this dog and put on him. And when he starts barking because of the cat, he's going to get zapped.
He's going to get a little zappy zap.
The cat's been here long enough. He should be used to him by now, you know?
Yeah.
And the other 2 dogs are fine with him. The cat's fine with the other dogs. Yeah. But this particular dog, he doesn't go after her. He just barks and barks and barks. And it's about to drive me nuts. So if anybody out there has any ideas, things I can try with a stupid dog, let me know. I'm all ears.
My dog used to clean our cat's litter box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hope you're not eating dinner.
Yeah. Gross.
Well, my dogs would, but I got that fancy litter box that there's nothing in it. It cleans itself.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you have that.
Hey, Jackie.
Yep. Paid a lot of money for that stupid litter box, but it cleans itself.
Yeah.
It does what it says it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. It does too. It really does. We actually, you change it like once a month, once a month. And I just did it, and it's great. Love it. Huh. Yeah. So it was well worth the investment.
You need to send me a link for that, because I might have just found my daughter a Christmas present.
There you go. I paid it was like $200, $225 or something. And then you got to buy the refills, you know, but you only change it once a month, depending on how many cats you have. I only have 1. So, you know, it was well worth it for me, but I will send you the link, Tex. All right. So let's get back on to paranormal stuff and not kitty stuff. Cat litter.
Now we're talking about cat litter. See, I told you it was off the rails on the blondes tonight. I am not joking.
Yeah. We'll talk. Yeah, we'll go down any rabbit hole. We don't care.
I saw somebody mention that dogs can sense spirits too.
Oh yeah.
They can. They can.
Every now and then, I catch my dog just kind of staring off into the ceiling or looking around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often wonder what's going on with that.
Yeah.
My dog, when we lived in that house that was haunted, my dogs would just be laid in the middle of the room floor and then just look at the raise up and look at the stairwell, both of them.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like,
thank you, War.
Thank you,
War. Like I said, my dogs are dumb. I got them shortly after I moved in. It wasn't too long after I moved in. So I'm wondering if they're just kind of used to the activity and they're just like, whatever. It's like, whatever. And my cat, oh gosh, she just dislikes the whole thing. She sees it, she watches it, she starts hissing for no reason, and then takes off.
Yeah. You know, there's Lunar Eclipse says, if my dog does not like someone, neither do I. I had a delivery person that one of my dogs would growl and lunge at. Everyone else, he was fine. You know what? That's true. They say if your dog does not like a person, you need to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very true. I've heard that before.
Well, again, my dogs haven't met anybody they didn't like.
Well, you know, I got one of those too. My 200-pound dog, he hasn't met anybody he doesn't like either. He's a terrible watchdog.
They're just like, whatever, just love me, hug me.
Yeah.
You know, even my mom is not an animal person. And, you know, they just love her. You know, it's just like, they're constantly under her feet. And I'm just like, God.
You know what, though? I think dogs or cats, whatever. That is so true because so you said your mom's not an animal person. My dad, he likes dogs, but he doesn't like cats. And if there's a cat at someone's house, they will be all over my dad. And he's not a cat person, you know? And yeah, that happened not too long ago with him. He's like, why do cats like me?
Because you don't like them, and they're going to say you're going to be my friend, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, there's another question. Let's see. Hold on, let me find it. Oh, William asks, what is the strangest experience in the woods?
Y'all go first.
Brandy, I'll let you go.
You know, I've had several very strange things. Now we're going to take my experiences and my sightings, my encounters out of it. We're going to take it out of it. Mm-hmm. So, Krista, I'm going to have to say it was the time that we were together at the LBL and we started seeing orbs everywhere. And I had seen the eye shine. It was like a sunburnt, orangish red type of thing. But there was orbs just everywhere.
I agree with you too on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you take your cryptid encounters out of it, it would have to be that.
Yeah, just because honestly, we can't say what it was. We don't know if it was ghost, if it was a cryptid, if it was a portal. We have no idea. No idea.
I'm telling you that experience stumped me, and it still does to this day, because everybody was seeing orbs. Some seen the same ones. Some seen ones by themselves. They were different sizes, different colors. It was very strange. Very strange. And it was in January. There wasn't nobody else around. There was nobody walking through the woods or doing all that kind of stuff. It was like,
and everybody was right there in camp with us. There wasn't anybody walking around the woods. None of our people. We were all right there in camp. So yeah, I can't explain that.
That has to be my weirdest experience.
I would agree with you. That would be mine too.
Mm-hmm.
Tex, what about you?
I really haven't had many strange experiences in the woods. I haven't been around the woods that much.
We got to change that.
We haven't.
That'll change.
Yet.
I know that'll change.
Yeah, that'll change.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
but I know Texas had strange stuff.
Well, when I was a kid, I found a bunch of girls' clothes in the woods one time.
Been there, done that.
Okay, yeah, we noticed that too. It was very strange. Tex and I both were like, "Well, there's some clothes, all folded up, nice and neat, just hanging out on the side." Yeah. You're like,
"War criminal said
that's not the first time we've had that happen."
Energy. He was there that night with us.
Yeah, he said it. Yeah, it really was. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you take the cryptids out of it, or what for sure were cryptids and what I think were cryptids.
Yeah, take that out.
It was probably, there's two of them. And one of them was, we was up in the cemetery with, I was with the girls from What the Paranormal and Junior and Senior, and all that stuff happened at the same time. Where my arms started getting real hot and heavy, and I'd never had that happen before. And then my headlamp and Amy's big 6x9 adjustable LED sun, they went out at the same time. And I had to physically turn my headlamp back on. And when she turned her light back on, which she had to do, there's a dial adjustment on it, and when she would dial it up, it would go down, and it was reversed.
Yeah.
And then we had I guess it's called a ghost box, but it wasn't the one that makes noise. It was just the digital one that the words spell out. And we had 3 words come up, and it was Solo Beast Grace. And I know we got a lot of people in chat probably never heard of the story. But earlier at night back at camp, Junior had said that Amy's husband was a beast. He's a big old boy, And he goes, ma'am, you're a beast. And he was parked down at the bottom of the cemetery by himself, and my truck was right next to him. So if you get Solo and Beast, that kind of rings true. But the weird one was Grace, because that is the name of my truck. And then they had the Junior and Senior at the same time all this was going on. Junior and Senior were seeing these cat-like entities jump out of the trees, and when they'd hit them with a light, they would disappear, and they'd turn the light back off, and they were right back where they were. So that's probably one of them for sure. The other one, I guess, was there was probably 10 of us in camp. We were sitting around the campfire, and we got a woman laughing in the woods over on this side of camp, and then like a few minutes later over on this side of camp. Well, there's no way, and we were the only ones out there, and there was no way that somebody could have got over there and did that at the same in the time frame that it took to do it. Get on the other side of the camp. But yeah, I guess those are non-cryptid related. God, I got to quit doing that. I'm going to stick my hands in my pocket so I don't do this. I guess those are the two, what I can say, paranormal things, that strangest things that's happened to me. I mean, I've had what looked like, it was a humanoid figure. That's all I can say. When me and Randy were down there, and it just came out of the dark right on the edge of the firelight, and then walk right back into the dark. And the next day, it was muddy, sloppy muddy down there, and we couldn't find any tracks. So,
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of strange stuff. I mean, if we sat and we thought about that, I mean, we could talk all night on just weird things that are happening in the woods. I mean, honestly.
Oh yeah. I haven't found a set of stairs yet. I'm looking forward to seeing that one of these days.
Well,
because I'm going up
I'm
the
off
stairs.
the other way. We see him, you just go on ahead. I'm going the other way. I was like, he's back
Not
there
going up
somewhere.
the
I
stairs.
think. I think he's still there.
Because I could not run across a random set of stairs out in the middle of nowhere
and not go up them.
And not go up. I just, well, you know me, Brandy. That ain't going to happen. Whatever. If somebody says, "Oh, I wouldn't do that," yeah, well,
Yeah.
Oh, and Gary Spike Sr. brought up another one too. We had several game cams set up on the trail that led from camp down to the river. And Ranger X had them. They were his cameras, and there were over 1,000 images taken overnight, and all of them were black.
Like something was in front of them?
They were just all blank.
Wow.
But the cameras triggered about 1,000. It was 900 and something times just overnight, and they were all just blank pictures.
Yeah,
interesting.
Now, one camera malfunctioning like that, okay, maybe two, okay, but there was like 6 of them.
Yeah. Well, Krista had audio equipment go haywire. So, I mean, she's had it where there was 2 people out there, 2 different, pieces of audio equipment, and both of them blank out and go, pretty much dead in the same spot. Or if they think they're recording, then they go back and they listen to it, and then there's nothing there. It's static.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had up in that dadgum cemetery. I mean, we got this really weird radiation reading, right in like a 2x2 spot right above a grave. But it only happens at night.
Yeah, I find that weird too. We're going to have to go back out there and test that one again.
And I think one of the weirdest experiences we've ever had together was finding the candle.
Yeah, that a whole witchcraft stuff. Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Candles and pictures in a cemetery.
In a cemetery, and that's
That doesn't match the time frame. I mean, it's obviously not a memorial because they were modern pictures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and we went back. What, 6 months later?
Yep.
6 months later, and the candle's still there.
Yep.
Wow.
Still there. So we still didn't touch it. We left it alone. It can stay where it's at. I don't want it. Nope.
You don't want it, huh?
No, yeah. I don't. And you were the first one yelling at me. Remember, because we were going live, and Kristen's like, "Don't touch it."
I was.
She was, and then Tex is like, "I'm like, Tex, don't touch it."
Yep. You just don't know.
Right. You don't know what their intent was, and so it's just best to leave it alone.
Yep. You don't want to take nothing home.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely don't want to take
I'm like a little kid in a candy store or a toy store. I got to touch everything.
I know. I mean, so we compromised, and he took his walking stick and kind of moved stuff around with it. I'm like, oh, well, okay. I mean, you shouldn't touch it at all, but.
Yeah.
Now I have a haunted walking stick.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Crazy, crazy stuff, man.
Speaking of walking sticks, real quick. I don't know who it is, but if you're hearing this, you know who you are. You owe money to Mr. Spike Sr. for a walking stick. You got the walking stick, and he never got his money, so pony up.
Uh-oh.
He works hard on those things.
Mm-hmm. He does, and he does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I too have a walking stick from him.
Yeah, I do too.
Cool.
Yep.
And it stays in my car. I gotta have it. Now I gotta have it, so it stays in my car.
Yeah, we have some trips coming up, and I'll be having mine with me.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
If nothing else, I'm gonna knock something out with it.
I'll tell you what, that latest one that he made me for Christmas, good grief. It's that big around.
Yeah, he does.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yep. Most definitely. I don't know. So what do you guys let's talk about UFOs. We haven't really touched on that tonight.
No, that was our last night.
Yeah, because we kind of talked about the experience that me, Ranger, and Pops had when we were out camping this last time.
Yeah, we did cover it last night because Brian Bowden had some news stories and things that he was telling us last night, and we did get into talking about the mall incident, and again, there's still no real answers to what actually happened.
Here's something. It's not paranormal UFO or anything related, but some of you may have heard of. Most of you probably heard of Operation Paperclip and MK Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a documentary out there, and it's called Dr. Delirium: The Experiments of at Edgewood. And what it's about there's a group of Vietnam vets, and they were volunteers for these experiments. And it's when they were testing a drug called BZ, LSD, and CS, and a whole lot of other stuff. And they interview the doctor that was in charge of these experiments. They have footage of the experiments. It is a great documentary. So I suggest you look it up.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Will do.
What do you guys think about like Area 51? Do you think that they really do have like hidden aliens, live aliens, and things like that? Or
I don't know that they would have live aliens, but I do think
Well, they said apparently though, didn't they say that some were dead, but there was a couple that was still alive?
Oh,
I've heard both. I've heard both.
If everything that Bob Lazar has been saying, and there's been a few more guys come out about it too that I've seen, that I mean, there's something going on out there, and I mean, all of a sudden it seemed like the airplane technology or whatever, all of a sudden just had a huge leap back years ago. I mean, where does that come from? I mean, I think it had to have come from something like that. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, just think about our cell phone technology. I mean, for real.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we went from the brick phone to, the super small phones, and then now we've got these big old TV looking phones now, I mean, the technology in cell phones themselves is astonishing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
There was another question here. William says, did you ever meet anyone who really spooked you, like there was something eerie about them? Oh, yeah.
Every day, the place I work.
There are a lot of people out there that I would say there's something that just doesn't feel right with me. It's just kind of like I look at them and talk to them even for the briefest moment and go, nope. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've met people that just,
I mean, haven't you though?
Goes off.
Yeah, or you're just sitting there and you're listening to them talk to someone else, maybe that and then you're like, I've got to walk away. This is driving me absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And for me, I guess, we've talked about them before on the show, but the energy vampires, the energy vamps, those are the ones that I get the ick from. It's just kind of like, I got to go. I just got to go. I can't.
Just sucks the life out of a room.
Yes. Yes. And it's usually those people that get me the quickest, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. They're let's see here. Werewolf says the government said that there's no alien material in their possession.
When was the last
time the government says that? So
yeah.
I fully trust.
Whatever they say is true. Remember that. The government is always right.
I fully trust and blindly follow my government.
Yeah, I know.
There it is.
I fully trust my government.
I trust them.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
How did you do that one, Paul?
I don't know. I guess if you do this long enough.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's funny.
There's a balloon party at my house.
It won't work for you, Tex. You don't have an iPhone or an iMac. Yeah.
That's so funny.
I've come to find out it's only on a Mac that it does that.
Yeah.
And then we're always finding new stuff.
Yeah, that was new. And this, there you go.
Yeah, there's the other one. Yeah, I mean, we didn't know how that was going on.
Yeah.
And then, because at first it started off with the thumbs up and we couldn't figure out that. And then he started out doing something else. And now we got balloons. It's a party.
Try this.
Nothing.
Now I just look like an idiot. I did try the finger a couple times when I wasn't on live or anything, and nothing happened. So
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have so much fun with just minute things. It doesn't take a lot.
Thumbs down. Oh wait.
No.
Maybe not.
No.
Only positive things.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess so.
What did that say before Roswell? What? I'm sorry.
Scott City, Missouri.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
City. That's down near Cape,
outside of Cape Girardeau. Yeah. And that one there, that crash happened 7 years prior or previous. So it happened 7 years earlier than Roswell, but nobody made a big deal about that one.
No.
Well, it's like the one in Aurora, Texas. Happened in the 1800s. Took out, what was it, the mayor's windmill. And they buried the body in the city cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
That's 20 minutes down the road from me.
Yeah.
Right.
Scary stuff. Wow.
I'm looking at all the comments and seeing what they're saying. I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Trying to figure out what all the sign language is.
PG63 says, LOL, I'm just trying to figure out what all the sign language is. We're playing. We're playing. Yeah, I know. You know, and I've been trying to keep up on new stuff coming out on YouTube with, you know, certain investigations and things like that, and I'm not seeing anything really new, you know, kind of.
Speaking of YouTube, outside of our friend shows, keep all them out of it.
Okay.
What's your favorite go-to YouTube show on YouTube? Keep friends out of it. None of our friends.
I've been starting to watch Michael Anthony a little bit more. He's got some interesting stuff, a lot about aliens and other, you know, political stuff. I don't watch the political stuff, but he's got some interesting ones.
What about you, Tex?
Real crime.
Chris and I think we have the same one.
Yeah, I got two.
Now I'll say every night I do listen to Mr. Rain.
There you go. Well, I know Chris and I, we have a Friday night faithful. Every Friday night we watch the Paranormal Nightmare. Every Friday night we watch the Foreman Brothers. Every Friday night, you know.
Also, Morgan mentions Paranormal Files. Amazing. I'm a huge fan of his too. That's my second. Those are my top two. Honestly, those are my top two: Paranormal Nightmare and Paranormal Files.
Yeah, and you know, I watch, you know, because I don't have a lot of time. Sometime during the day, it's like a quick on my break or whatever. But I watch Mr. Ballin. If you've never watched him before, he's got the creepiest stories in like 15 minutes. Boy, he can just get you hooked in, tell you the story. And you're just listening to him talk and watching him. You're not seeing pictures. You're not seeing nothing. You're just watching him talk, and you're just hooked. He's a master storyteller. So
right. You know, Crystal says something about Project Fear. That's a good one too. I do watch that one too.
But a faithful Friday night. I mean, me and Krista, we get upset when they don't have an episode on.
Yeah. We're like tonight, that's what we'll be watching.
Yeah. As soon as we get off here, we'll go watch that. Sometimes we'd watch it and talk to each other. Like,
yeah.
You know, but it's one of our, you know, it is one of our favorite things because these guys are the real deal. You know, they go in.
You're welcome, Robin.
Yeah.
And they go on to, you know, they help individuals with negative hauntings.
Yeah.
You know? So it's good if anybody's into that kind of thing. Those shows are usually about an hour or so.
There's just so many good ones out there that it's, you know, hard to find time to watch all of them, really.
It's a good thing that we don't have to watch all of them live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Yeah. No, we couldn't because we follow so many people and we watch so many people's shows, their podcasts or their documentaries or all this stuff that we just don't really have the time to do it all when they come out.
Exactly.
So I mean, a lot of podcasts I have to go back and listen to later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. That's like them big ones like that. That's why I, you know, yeah.
You're right.
Crystal's talking about Project Fear. Her and I think Catherine are. Actually, I just seen that came out today. They just did one on Velisca today. Actually, it just came out.
Yeah.
There's another good one over in Australia. Night Watchers Paranormal Australia is pretty good.
Absolutely.
So are they just talk ones, or are they actually getting out and investigating?
Those they go out and investigate.
See, those are the ones that
yeah,
you know, like I like. The only talk ones I really watch are my friends.
Yeah.
I like the investigative ones, you know.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yep. But like I said, the only one that I was talking about was Mr. Ballin. He's the only one that I can sit and listen to tell a story. I'm like,
Glenn says Mr. Ballin always has somebody dying a gruesome death. Is that true?
Yes. Yes. But he does tell Dogman stories, and he does tell Bigfoot stories, and tells paranormal stories, and he tells murder, crime, mystery stories, and it's everything that I listen to on a daily, because Krista and I fall asleep to the ID channel.
I know.
Well,
so it's just our thing.
He's a friend of mine, but Cam Buckner.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's
but
he's a friend. That's why we can't say that. And same thing with
he's our friend, so we can't put him.
Josh Minocchio, like they don't count in what we're talking
about. We can't put them in, so that we have to talk about people we've never met.
Yeah.
Never talked to.
Yeah.
See, we have to do that. That's where it gets difficult. Mm-hmm. Except for me and Krista, because there's a lot of stuff that we watch.
Right. War Criminal says, if I go back to Malvern and Ray County, Krista and Brandy, we need to go to Villisca. Absolutely.
If we go back to Malvern, absolutely go to Malvern.
Yeah, because it's only 40 minutes from Malvern.
Yeah, we can go to Villisca easily that way. And we'll get with Johnny, see if he's in, and maybe we can do a quick little tour or something, or or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, we did that book review back in December called "The Man from the Train," which went into 2 different serial killers of that same time frame, and they go into how all these killings were similar and what was not similar, and how far that this actual person could have gone to do these murders, and it was phenomenal. It was crazy.
What was this?
It's called "The Man from the Train."
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hold on just a second. I will.
You guys had the author on, didn't you? Wasn't it?
No, it was Heather Mosier from Small Town Monsters.
Oh, that's right.
She's a friend.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see all my little thingies in here from where I stopped, and I'll go back and read. There's a bunch of them in here, actually, and things that I go back into. But this talks about the Villisca murders and how it could have went down. Because I mean, first they were saying it was the preacher, and then they're saying that it was something else. And this book really makes you take a deep look into the whole railway system and how serial killers were bouncing, from town to town and creating all these murders. And it's a fantastic book. But like I said, you've got to have time to sit and read that. That's not a skim. You can't skim read that. You have to read it.
There was
because there's like ton of information. And if you're a history buff too, I'm one of those. That's why I found it interesting.
There was something else kind of like that, but it was truckers, and because they've had several interstate killers, and they caught this one, and I heard an interview with him, and he was talking about he was in a ring, and there were 7 of them, I believe, and they were all truckers, and one of them was a female, and they talked in code over the CB, and they would pull over and swap victims.
Yeah, they would switch off victims. Like they'd pull over and well, I'm done with her. You can have her. Who do you got? Or I don't want anyone right now, or I'm going here. I can't have anybody, or I'm going to pick up one here later. Or that was the most disgusting. Now that was what highway was that? That was one going through Oklahoma down to Texas, wasn't it?
35. It may have been 35.
It might have been.
Or 10. It could have been 10, but
I think it was going north to south.
That'd be 35. Yeah.
Yeah. but it was just, no, I couldn't believe that when I watched that. I was like, you have
it's
that.
crazy.
Well, it started off in the documentary of the killing fields. This is where it all began. When they were looking for these killers that were dumping them in these fields and swamplands and whatever.
Right outside of Galveston, Texas. Yeah.
Right. So they were dumping them, and then they were trying to figure out exactly who was dumping them. And then one thing led to another, which led them on to these truckers that were actually serial killers.
Mm-hmm.
But even though they weren't the ones committing the crimes that it began with, they found a whole different ring. So it was
Little Patty brings up H.H. Holmes, traveled by train while on a serial murder spree. Also, he committed quite a few murders while he was traveling.
They talk about him in this book too.
Yeah. Of course, he's famous for his murder house, in Ohio. But a lot of people don't know that he had a second murder house. It was in Fort Worth, Texas. And he wasn't here long. He got ran out of town because of debt or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense.
He was building an identical murder house to the one he had, except he was putting improvements in it, a bigger crematorium and that type of thing.
Yeah, and if you don't have the money to cover your tracks, I guess.
Yeah, well, he was always forging checks and taking people's life insurance, all that kind of stuff. So,
I thought H.H. Holmes was also in Chicago. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah, World's Fair. His house was right there, just a few blocks from where they had the World's Fair.
Yeah,
and that's where a lot of his victims came from, because there were so many people there that people didn't realize they were going missing.
right.
Right. But that was the same fair that where what's his face? Dadgummit. Invented the light bulb. Help me out here, guys.
Thomas Edison.
Yeah, Edison electrocuted the elephant. That was the same fair.
Yeah.
Do I win anything for that, to be the first one to answer?
I'll say I failed history.
Felt like I was in school there for a second.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of sick serial killers out there that will never be found. And it's like, you don't know where to classify some of these people as, because I mean, a lot of them, they're just throwing them into human trafficking. That's what they're doing with them. They're just throwing them in there and then they're done with it. There's just like, it's human trafficking, when in fact it's a serial killer, and they're not finding these bodies. I don't know. It's a very exhaustive thing.
Yeah. Now the FBI says there's anywhere from 50 to 200 active serial killers at any given day, and that is a very conservative estimate. And another thing that a lot of people don't think about. Morgan, I'll talk about what's going on in Austin here in a minute if you want me to. Say you have a teenager, okay, and he's sitting in the living room, he's watching TV. Okay, now I know that there's a method to my madness here. You give him a bag of Doritos, and you tell him you can only eat just one. Okay, odds are that ain't gonna happen. Okay, it's the same thing with the serial killers that get popped right after their first murder. It doesn't mean that they're not serial killers. They just didn't have the chance, to grab one more out of the bag and have one more chip and that type of thing. So, are there serial killers? I want to address the Hannibal Lecter situation. because everybody thinks about Hannibal Lecter, and a lot of people have the misnomer of these serial killers are very smart. A lot of them are just dumb luck. Just dumb luck. There's been so many serial killers, if you really get into reading about this, that have been caught several times for other crap. John Wayne Gacy was arrested for boinking a teenage boy, and they let him out before he ever started killing people. And Gary Ridgway was arrested a couple of times. He was questioned a couple of times. There was many, even Dahmer, stuff like that. It's just amazing what, and I don't want to call them incompetent because I'm a fan of law enforcement, but when you read some of these reports of they were caught and they let them go, or even over in like Brazil, the maximum sentence over there is 30 years and they have no death penalty. So these serial killers, if they're young enough, they serve their 30 years and they get out. One just recently, he was due to get out and he died. But it's nuts. But the thing going on in Austin, it's not just Austin. We looked into that, and it's happening all over I think it was like 10 or 11 states it's happening in, and these killings are happening in clusters. And it's almost the exact opposite of what normal low-hanging fruit for serial killers is. Instead of being the less dead is what they call them, the homeless and the prostitutes and everything like that. And I know that's a horrible name, but that's what they're going by. It's people that, live a high-risk lifestyle and may not necessarily be missed for quite a bit of time. But instead of that, these victims are very athletic, very smart, and that type of thing. And almost all of them are being found drowned with no water in the lungs and high doses of what is it, HEB? Or no, not the date rape drug in their system. And a lot of them were straight-laced. They did not drink or do drugs.
Roofies. Yeah.
And one case in Austin, there was a gentleman that was found at the bottom of in a creek off the side of a bridge. And if you look at the photos of the bridge, the one path is here, and then the walking path is here. Well, and they say he got hit by a car and knocked off the bridge. They said he fell off the bridge. To fall off the bridge where they say he would have had to fall over this railing, roll across, or clear the other walking path and go into the creek. But that doesn't explain his injuries. He had trauma to the front and back of his head. He had a broken arm and broken ribs and something else, a broken leg, I think. But the injuries do not line up with the fall, because he fell, I think it was like 15 feet in 3 feet of water. That doesn't make any sense. He was jacked up before he ever hit the water. So he was he could have been hit by a car, but they never. Yeah. They said he got drunk and fell off the bridge. I don't understand that. But.
I don't either. And I would say, well, maybe he was drunk and started stumbling out there and got hit by a car.
Yeah, possibly.
But I wouldn't say he got drunk and fell off. That's not unless he was just so disoriented,
And there, a lot of the reports they're seeing, the last people that these folks are seen with is a group of people, and including females, in a van. So it appears that these people are luring these, and they're male. Most of them are male. Now there is a state, I can't remember, was it Utah or Oregon, where the same cluster is happening, but it's all female.
Yeah.
So we think what's possible, and there's also been smiley faces painted either at the crime scene or somewhere near the crime scene in a lot of these.
Right.
And what we're thinking is that it's a group that possibly they all live in different states and they get together, say, hey, we're going to come up to your area and we'll do, we'll have fun up there for a while, or we'll go over here to this state and we'll have fun over here for a while.
It could be. It could be. It could be a group. A small group.
Well, exactly. I don't think it's a big, wide thing. It's I think it is a small, not tight knit group,
intimate kind of a group. Yeah.
Yeah, probably, and I think they have different fetishes or desires. And not all serial killers are sexually driven. And that's a misnomer too. Some of them are monetarily driven. The Black Widows are probably the worst bunch, and the Bluebeards. So,
right.
But it's like H.H. Holmes was a little bit of all of it. I mean, he did it for money, but he also did it just because he was sadistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he enjoyed it.
Yeah,
he enjoyed it,
and they all do.
Yeah,
but for different reasons.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Gary Ridgway thought he actually told the cops, he says, I'm doing y'all a favor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting the trash off the street that y'all can't touch. Talking about prostitutes.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we are at the 1.5 hour mark.
Yes, we are here. And, it is early night for us.
And Krista's sick.
Krista needs to go to bed.
Mm-hmm. Brandy's got to work in the morning.
So do I. We all have to work.
It sounds like I do too. Yeah.
I don't have to work, but I'm not feeling good, so I'm gonna try to heal this weekend.
Yeah, I hope you get feeling better.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Fun.
Appreciate it. All right. Well, guys, until next week, we will. Brandy.
Yeah.
Why don't you run through the shows that we forgot to do?
Oh, yes, we sure did. I am very sorry. We'll get this out of the way real quick. On Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central is Danielle Diva in the Diva Dimension. 8 p.m. is Texas Front Porch. On Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central, it is Beyond BMR with Bigfoot Michigan Rob and his co-host Krista. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m., it is Donnie Cho Says Stuff. At 8 p.m., it is Inhumanoids with Barton Nunnelly and his wife Letitia. Thursdays at 12 p.m. Central, it is Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And of course, 8 p.m. Thursday nights, it's us, Blondes and Booze. On Fridays, it's at 7 o'clock. Everybody's here, so 7 o'clock, Blondes and Booze. On Saturday nights, Paranormal Among Us. Paranormal Paul over here. His show is at 8 p.m. Central, right? 8 p.m. Central Saturday nights. On Sundays at 5 p.m. Central, it is Truth or Tinfoil. 6 o'clock, Tex and Danielle Diva released their newest episode of Infamous Minds. But don't forget, March 21st, Monica Rollins will be releasing her first episode of, it will be live, by the way. It will be live. But it's Our Paranormal World starting at 7 p.m. Central. And you can find that on Texas Front Porch.
And I still think it's amazing that you don't read that.
Yeah. Right.
No.
And thank you to Michelle Delaney. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
War Criminal. Thank you.
Thanks, War. Appreciate you. Love you.
Yes.
Those are all central times that we gave out.
There we go.
Yes, those are all central. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Until next week, guys, we will see everybody later.
We'll see you on the porch on Monday.
Yep.
Stay safe, everyone. See ya.
See y'all. Good night.
Night.